Hello and welcome to episode 31 of Toast the Toss. Wonderful to be back on the show. I had taken a break for last week. As usual, we have our famed panelists welcoming Bidhu, Tejas, and our showrunner, Arijit, onto the show. Good evening, gentlemen. Let's get started. Let's talk about the Women's World Cup, which has probably captured a lot of our imagination. Australia, head and shoulders above every other team. Would you agree?
Yes, it was pretty evident when they were reaching the finals with 38 victories out of 40 games. I thought it would be a mouth-watering contest because England actually were on a resurgent team with 5 back-to-back wins to reach the finals. But we could see the difference between the sides in terms of ability and what transpired on the field today also. From a neutral fan's perspective, I want to acknowledge Australia for the dominance because what happens is when you are winning a lot of games, people expect you to win. And it's only when you lose that it becomes a news. So it is only the players who know the effort that goes behind every single time they turn up on the field, both physically, mentally, and also emotionally to outperform every single time. And they have been deserving to win the cup. For England, I think they tried hard to make a match out of it. You can feel for Nat Cypher, 148 not out against Australia and still ending up on the losing side. But if you just look at the chase, I think run rate wise, they were always in the game, but they kept on losing partners. All the top batters, Heather Knight, Amy Jones, Sophia Dunkey, all of them got the starts and they scored above 100 strike rate, but they could never capitalize on the start. And that is why Australia's bowling lineup was never threatened. They did get a few scares, but eventually they were all sticking together. The other thing, very specific to the match, was Sophie Ecclestone not getting a lot of wickets because in the last 5 games which England won, Sophie Ecclestone was picking 2, 3, 4 wickets every single match. But today she got only one, and it was in the 30th over. And I think that's where Australia put their dominance and England were on the back foot. But to reach the finals after being the defending champions is still an effort which I can say that England can be very proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. Some great points because I remember the group stage matches. Again, Australia scored 300 plus, and Nat Shiver seemed to be the lone person who pretty much could have taken England to a victory. And again,
Tejas, you want to add your points to that? I think Suraj will be joining in some time.
apologies, we had an interruption in between. So going back to the point I was making, it does seem like Nat Shiver was the only batsman who stood up against the Aussies and seemed like she could take England to victory in the group stage matches. Now, today, what surprised me was England were all out in about 43.4 or whatever, right? And they were at 289. So they had to chase another 60 odd. And Natshivar was not out. So if and only if, to your point, Bidhu, if there was one or two people who could build a partnership with her, you never know. England women could have actually chased the highest total in a women's World Cup. Now, the other thing I never understood was why would teams pick chasing in a big match? Like, why did England put Australia into bat? Similarly, West Indies also did the same mistake in semi-finals. They put Australia into bat, and Australia deflates an opposition with the kind of batting they have. They have an explosive batting. But well, yeah, it does seem like they deserve to win. Okay. Now, moving on to the other cricket carnival which happens every year, which is the IPL. Now, it's been the first week of IPL. I know all the teams are not full strength, but again, some fabulous performances. What I would like to listen from each one of you is your top performance for the week or something which caught your attention and you want to talk about it. Whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, I'll go first. So there are two things. I'll be talking about just one team which has defied expectation for me. It's the Gujarat Titans. I'll be honest, I didn't really rate them all that high after the auctions because they don't have a lot of batting depth in their in their squad, which might come back to bite them in the later stages of the tournament. But the way Shubman Gill batted yesterday against some quality spin of Kuldeep Yadav, right? Kuldeep is coming off from a long layoff and he's bowling brilliantly. And the way he countered some quality spin, and we have not really seen Shubman Gill scoring at 200 plus strike rate. And I think this is the first time. So that is a welcome change for me. And I mean, if he's batting like this, then I'm really hopeful for the future of Indian batting. So that really caught my eye. Shubman Gill and the whole of Gujarat Titans team.
You think familiarity would have helped Shubman Gill because I know Shubman Gill and Kuldeep Yadav were teammates at KKR, right?
Yes.
So familiarity would have helped Shubman Gill counter Kuldeep Yadav.
Yeah, I mean, one thing with KKR and Kuldeep Yadav, he was not really picked into the 11. So hopefully he was picked at least to bowl in the nets. Such was the treatment of Kuldeep Yadav at KKR. I'll not be surprised if he was asked to stay back at hotel and not even come to the practice. So,
yeah, I mean, I read something. I think Mohammad Kaif had made some allegations, right? He said, hey, what is the point of picking up Kuldeep Yadav and not even getting him to the ground?
Exactly. I never understood that.
Yeah. He had an injury also, and I was particularly disappointed that KKR let go of both Shubman Gill and Kuldeep Yadav. Both of them are extremely talented players, but I think they favored players who are more confident or who are in groove at the moment. But to agree with Tejas's point, yes, I really loved Shubman Gill's performance. And there's one former KKR player who denied KKR a victory. That was Dinesh Kartik from now he's playing with RCB. So I really enjoyed that game actually, though I'm not a big RCB fan, but the way he played against his former team, especially the last 2 overs, and I think he had some grudge against Russell, and I think he got the better of him finally.
Yeah. I mean, now it seems like RCB has a finisher, right? So even in this match, if you observe, they kept Dinesh Kartik in the hut for a long time and only unleashed him probably in the 17th over or whatever. And I think because it was a low-scoring game, I felt it gave a lot of batsmen in the RCB camp time out in the middle. After Du Plessis, Kohli, and the other opening batsmen got out, you had David Willey and Sheriff Rutherford trying to build a partnership, and then came in Shahbaz, right? Shahbaz Ahmed. Shahbaz Ahmed, in my opinion, is a very underrated all-rounder. I hope he gets more chances for RCB because he can bowl decently, he can swing, and he's a decent bat, and he's also a good outfielder. So I hope he gets more chances. It kind of is interesting when Maxwell comes back. Who do they drop? They drop a David Willey and fit in a Maxwell because Rutherford seems to hit the long ball. So, and it is also interesting that this time RCB has about multiple left-handers. They have shortage of right-handers and they have a lot of left-handers. But yeah. Sorry, going back to your point, Tejas, with Gujarat Titans, I think what has also impressed me is it did seem like the batting was thin, but they have a Tewatia there, right? Then they have Hardik Pandya coming 2 down. Maybe he can come 3 down or 4 down and push Abhinav Manohar up. I definitely think Abhinav Manohar has a lot more potential. They have a good opening in Matthew Wade, and they can push Abhinav Manohar up and then Hardik to do the finishing, Hardik and Tewatia. But it is a bowling which is pretty much killing all the matches. Mohammad Shami, who else? Rashid Khan. Who else do they have on their bowling lineup?
Lockie Ferguson.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Hardik Pandya himself is bowling 4 overs there. So, I mean, you have 16 proper overs, and you can ask Tewatia and, a little bit of Vijay Shankar there. So, I mean, they have proper 23, 24 overs in their squad. So, that's in the end, bowlers win your matches. So, in that philosophy, they're good. And I just am worried about their batting still. course, Gill performed yesterday, but I still feel 172 wasn't a winning score. Batting first, I think it should have been somewhere around 190, and that is where they'll struggle. Pandya coming in at 4 is good for his confidence, but if he gets out early, then they're in picture. So, let's see. Let's see. For them, batting first is always the right option, but you never know. They can struggle in the little part of the ball.
Sure. Bidhu, your top games for the week or top performances?
Yeah, so both Shubman Gill's performance and Andrew Russell's performance I did pay attention to, but I would prefer Josh Butler's 100 against Mumbai Indians, because I do watch or probably follow Rajasthan Royals for quite a bit of years right now. And I feel what Josh Butler has been to RR is equivalent to what AB de Villiers was to RCB or David Warner was to SRH in terms of foreign players contributing to a particular IPL side. But oftentimes his performance goes under the radar. This is only because Rajasthan themselves are always languishing at the bottom half of the table and no one pays attention to the particular team. But over the years, Josh Butler has been a tremendous contributor to Rajasthan Royals. The other thing which happened in this particular year is English Cricket Board has given a confirmation that Josh is not going to be selected for any of the test matches. And Rajasthan has confirmed that Josh is going to be the opening batsman for the entire season, given that Hetmyer is the finisher now. So from a Josh Butler's perspective, I think he can, from a preparation point of view, he knows that he has a full season. He is going to open in all the matches and he's definitely not going to keep wickets unless Samson gets injured. So he will be in a good space. And I think it's just the initial tournament, but going forward, he might be in the race for an orange cap throughout the season. Because if you look at the players around him, he has got Samson, Hetmyer, Padikkal. There is left-right combination. All the players of Rajasthan are actually the players who can strike at 140. And even Yashasvi is the one who actually gives them the flying start. So he can settle down first in the first 6 overs and then launch a counter-attack. So Josh Butler's performance was really exceptional yesterday.
Yeah, it did seem like they stopped the Mumbai team, right? And Mumbai does look thin this time, except for their openers, and it does seem like the middle order is struggling. And Karan Pollard couldn't find his rhythm yesterday because I think when he came to bat, it was what? He needed 38 of 20 balls or something around that. And I kind of saw that they lost their way. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Josh, if given the confirmation from ECB and a fixed batting position for Josh, it probably makes it clear for him. And also, RR has a fabulous bowling lineup. So they have 2 wily spinners in Yuzvendra Chahal and Ashwin. And I think they have some decent fast bowling options as well, right? Chetan Sakaria is a part of RR now.
Chetan Sakaria is right now. I think they released him. Someone else took him out.
Okay. So who are the fast bowlers for RR?
So they have the Indian fast bowlers of Prashit Krishna. They have Navdeep Saini. They have Trent Bolt, who they got from Mumbai Indians, and now I think they have Nathan Coulter and Jimmy Neesham, kind of a batting all-rounder, bowling all-rounder. But Coulter was injured. But I thought they made a strange decision of going with 3 foreign players. I thought Jimmy Neesham would come straight in place of Nathan Coulter. But I think they have shown some confidence in Riyan Parag as someone who can squeeze in 2 overs and give them the finishing touches. And that's why we only saw 3 foreign players for Rajasthan yesterday.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I didn't notice that, but that's good. If I think the more Indian players they're able to breed, the better for them. Or maybe because it's the opening half of the season, they want to try out more Indian players and then probably bring in the foreigners. Yes, Arijit.
That is one concern with Rajasthan Royals. I've always found, especially players like Sanju Samson, Ashwin, their key players, they start really well, and I love it. And everyone falls in love with, okay, Rajasthan Royals is back. This is the it seems like the inaugural season and all that, and then they just fizzle out. Means after game 4 or 5, they are just happy to be in the mix of the lower half of the teams. So that is a bit of a concern for me as a fan of Rajasthan Royals. I truly admire the team. especially at the auction table, they do a lot of good buys at good prices, and they have been doing it consistently for 14 years, except for the fact that the team does not perform well. And I think they have to keep themselves motivated and keep the social media account controller out of the.
Yeah. The whole controversy. I don't know if it was made up or was it a prank or they really pissed off Sanju Samson.
They
Oh.
pissed him off. They pissed him
No,
off.
I think that they have launched the next episode of it as well with the admin coming back. So I think it was a staged event which happened.
Oh.
I mean, in this day and age, we don't know which one is true, which one is staged, right? Everybody looks at any controversy with an eye of suspicion. The other performance I also quickly want to touch upon was Umesh Yadav. It does seem like he's having a dream IPL, at least for the first two matches. He's bowling fantastic. I think the last match he took 4 wickets, and the one before that he took 2 or 3 wickets. Right, so
that's the blessing of being an ex-RCB player. So I think.
Yeah, I mean the running joke is this, right? Other than Shivam Dubey, all RCB players are playing well. Although Shivam Dubey batted really well.
Shivam Dubey batted really well, but that says that people were telling that he was out of form actually. So, nonetheless.
Yeah, so Shivam Dubey bowled badly, but he batted well. Then Hetmeyer is anyways playing really well. Moeen Ali is the rock around which CSK is built. Who else are the ex-RCB players? Of course, Chal is doing well. Devdutt Padikkal is doing well for Rajasthan Royals. I think what was the other match where Saudi also bowled really well. So I think the tagline is this: anybody who performs well for any other team, just look them up. They would probably be an ex-RCBian, including Kimmel Mills for Mumbai.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah, I was really surprised. He bowled really well in one of the matches, and I was like, wow. And he does that. He has been doing that. I remember the year he debuted for England, he was this key bowler, especially at the tail. He was bowling really well at the death. Sorry, he was bowling really well, but he did not do that in RCB.
Yeah, because RCB picked him up for so much money that he probably realized that every is super important. So maybe he tried to do a lot of things. RCB picked him up for a record price at that point of time.
Yeah, there's one interesting thing about Timan Mills, right? Timan Mills, Jofra Archer, and Chris Jordan, who are known for their death bowling prowess, they all come from the same county, Sussex. Imagine that team having all three of them. And they haven't won a lot of T20 blasts over there, but this is incredible having three of them in the same team.
That's interesting. Okay. All right. Before we're almost at the end of the show today, but before that, I want to quickly check any match which you are looking forward to this week. Oh, sorry. One other thing which I forgot to ask. It does seem like Dew is killing most of the matches, right? I mean, somebody joked about it on Crick Info that in some of those locations, you can just toss the coin, and if you have lost the toss and then the opposition wants to bat first, you might, or bowl first, you might as well just concede the match to them.
Yeah, I mean, today at the toss itself, right? Mayank Agarwal and Jadeja came in, and Jadeja won the toss, and he had this sheepish smile when the commentator asks, "What are you going to do?" I mean, it's all in good fun, but it is also killing the whole competitiveness of the game. Today, I hope we get to see at least a contest in the second innings. Right? It should not be that CSK will win with 2 hours to spare or 3 hours to spare. That will just be horrible for the game itself. We've seen this problem in the T20 World Cup as well. Which for me was blasphemy, because it's a World Cup, and if it is decided by someone at the toss, then you might as well cancel the whole tournament and say it's just not worth it. It is killing the competitiveness, and it's also killing the interest in the game across the world. It's something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah. But Arijit, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, there was this one statement by Shreyas Iyer when he won the toss. He's like, I won't bat. Uh, Means I would like to field now because the pool, it will become a swimming pool, and that seemed such a it seemed such an insult to the game. In my opinion, it seems such an insult that you are just taking off the competitive edge of any match just by the toss of a coin. So that was something, and I think there should be some blame put on BCCI. And as one of our very ardent members of this panel, uh, Arun Sriram puts, like, they did not do their due diligence properly. So I think the BCCI should be blamed for this fiasco.
See, I think here's what they in their heads, right? I mean, they were massively embarrassed by the last IPL getting cancelled midway because of Corona and everything. Was to try and have matches in such venues where people did not have to use planes and they could travel by buses. And I felt Mumbai and Navi Mumbai and Pune, which is all travelable, which can be traveled by buses, was their options, because I don't think any other city, maybe Bangalore and Chennai, but that's just two grounds. But or maybe Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, but even those, the travel times are really long. But I think Mumbai, Navi Mumbai, and Pune was why they chose. But yeah, you're right. They kind of forgot that I don't think this issue is there in Pune, right? Because the Pune ground is much more open, so it's there is a wind blowing. I think it's Mumbai where with the humidity the dew starts coming in, or is it only a specific few grounds in Mumbai?
No. I think the problem, humidity is still fine, but Wankhede, it's like
Wankhede is a
very
cage.
close to the ground. I think stands everywhere. No? So there's absolutely no wind, nothing. So it just the ground will sweat more. You're seeing the effects of it, both in DY Patil and Wankhede. Yeah, sorry.
Compared to Wankhede, I think Brabourne is a better stadium. But again, it's also very close to the sea and all that. So I don't know how much the games have, how the games fared over there. But I personally, I enjoy being a spectator in Brabourne. I've been there a couple of times. I enjoy the open air and all that.
Okay. Yeah. We hope they find something because we understand the reasons why BCCI chose to do it in these two cities, just so that there is not Corona and all the other things which come with it, which is the advantage of going to UAE, right? Because three grounds are at a distance where you could just get into a bus and then drive rather than having to take plane. But yeah, it's unfortunate that it's kind of having an effect where dew is becoming a big factor in all these games. I don't know if they can start a little early, maybe by like 6:30 or 7.
I don't think the broadcasters will agree to that. So, if you remember, the matches used to start at 8 before. To get it to 7:30 itself, BCCI had to negotiate a lot with the broadcasters, and I don't think they'll. 6:30 is not an option at all. Something has to be done today. There was little bit of help because that anti-dew spray has been applied to the whole ground, and till now there was no dew. So that is good, but yeah, let's see how much it will work.
Let's see how it pans out. All right, we're almost at the end of the show. Last comments or quick thoughts about the games you are looking forward to next week. Any specific game? I'll start with you, Bidhu.
Mostly the teams who have lost 2 matches, I think they should win at least 1. Else, it will be very difficult to win on a trot. So teams like CSK and Mumbai, who are actually heavyweights, but you can see the cracks. Like for example, when a CSK turns up, if you see the lineup, at least for the previous match, you could see a Tushar Deshpande and Mukesh Chaudhary who did not have that much of track record. And once the opposition team spots that, they try to crack a hole in that, and then the other teams just bring the whole wall down. So for them, at least if they start winning 1 or 2 games just to be in that competitive streak, I think it would be better for the tournament. Else it will be like 2 halves with certain teams winning and closing in on the first 2 positions, and the rest of the teams just filling in the positions. So I hope these 2 teams start winning.
Okay.
For me,
Tejas?
for me, it's RCB versus RR for multiple reasons. Of course, RR has been the team to beat till now, all things considered. Gujarat have won 2 games as well, but I think RR is a more complete squad, and they're challenging for the playoffs right from the word go. I'd like to see how Chahal bowls against Virat Kohli. I think there's a mini battle there happening. Both are really good friends, but I think on the field, I think one will be trying to outsmart the other one. So that's a little battle that I'm looking forward to. RCB versus RR is the game of the week for me.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Oreo?
Okay, there are 4 teams I'm looking forward to. Of course, Gujarat Titans. Then KKR for obvious reasons, because I will be in Calcutta next week. And Delhi is a great side. And one team which no one has discussed or uttered, and it is Team Kavya, Sunrisers Hyderabad. So, I feel bad for the team, given that it was such a good team, and it is totally out of news because of the management, or they are trying to build a new team. So let's hope that they do well. Probably if not this year, next year, definitely.
Yeah. I'm also looking forward to LSG turning up and putting some great performances in Lucknow Super Giants. But yeah, it'll be interesting when we do our show next week to discuss some of the matches, some of the games which made an impact. But I think for today, it's a wrap for the show. Thank you again, gentlemen, for your time and for your inputs. Look forward to seeing you all next week. And for those of you who are watching this on YouTube, please remember to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and share the content with all your friends and people who would be interested. The more people we are able to reach, the better for everybody. Thank you again. Have a good rest of your week. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Suraj. Bye.
Thank you.